Yeah, I think I put some of these in the questions that I sent back, and thank you for providing the model. Very interesting to look at that. It is a growing asset class in Australia, as I'm sure you know. In fact, there's a listed player now, which is listed on NASDAQ, called Triton, who does EV charging. And BlackRock, the global asset manager, has also funded an EV charging business in Australia as well. So there's certainly some attention in the market at the moment. So I think the questions I really had was around some of those cost inputs and the assumptions that have been made. I don't know if you want to touch on those now or whether you wanted to wait until Chris joined the meeting.
So we can actually start, if you guys don't mind. I can start by giving feedbacks on the questions that you sent me, if that works.
Yes, please. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So the first question was the size of charging stations that you think it seems big for Australian market. And you are correct. The current situation in Australia is averagely in the city, you have about 2 chargers, 4 chargers per station, and then you have about 6 to 9 chargers on the highway. Right, that's a good situation. But as we speak, we have about 130,000 EVs on the road in Australia today, right? This year, the penetration rate is about 10%. It will only increase from time to time. So the reason that we have set a 10 charger per state is first, based on our China experience. Second, to accommodate the future growth of EVs. Because in the future, you'll have more EVs. And as a EV driver myself, I do not want to go to a charging station that only have, 1 or 2 chargers. What if the chargers are not functioning, right? Mm-hmm. Also, in a CapEx perspective, a 10 charger station averagely costs lower CapEx than a project that has many 2 charger stations. So that is going from these perspectives. I hope that answers the question.
It does, and I understand you're future-proofing the business by building to a greater capacity than perhaps is today. I guess in the cash flow assumptions, perhaps the assumption is that not all of those are fully utilised, that there's a ramp-up period over the years as there's further EV penetration. Maybe a way to reflect that in the assumptions.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I heard that because last time when I talked with your colleagues, Xinyu, I heard that in China, most of the users are using the public side charging facility. They are actually not a private user. They most of them is like they drive the Lala Move. Lala Move. They need to charging frequently, like once a day or twice a day.
Exactly.
But for like private users, they just charge at their home. They may need just one time, once a week or twice a week. So for such users, actually, it's the public side, the charging facility in public side are not frequently being used. So we need to, maybe Jonathan, you need to consider the situation in Australia.
Yeah, I think so. I was going to ask that question as well, because I know in the Australian market, there's a number of different offerings. One is obviously at home, and a lot of people have those charging units installed at home, which they can then use to charge their vehicles overnight. The cost is much lower, maybe 25 cents per kilowatt. And talking to a lot of people, that is their preferred way to charge. This is for your average consumer.
Right.
I also know that in a number of cities, they're now introducing free curbside charging units. So I just wonder how they may impact the model, and do you have any data around the use of the public charging stations?
So if I can give a little bit of the background of China experience and Australia research that I've done for the past weeks, what Mr. Bo said was correct. Cities, especially cities like Shanghai, like Beijing, we have like 50, if not 55% penetration rate. All taxis, especially in Shanghai, are electric. And by the end of next year, all taxis in Beijing are to be electric as well. So these commercial drivers, including Uber and Lyft, they are charging only in public charging stations, and they're charging 1 or 2 times a day. They cannot afford to go back to their home and plug into the socket to charge 8 and 10 hours because the job is to drive. For private drivers like myself, I do charge about maybe 1.5 times a week averagely, based on my routine. I do charge in public charging stations for 2 reasons. First, is the main reason. I do not have a charging station at home. I live in flats. There are no availability to install a charger. And for some other people where they can install charger in their parking lot, the community might not have enough electricity capacity for individual to install chargers. This is the first background. And then the second is charging stations, public charging stations, charge faster. And I personally tend to wait for 8 hours to charge my car. I want my car charged 80% in 30 minutes. This is why. And then the second, from what I see in the Australian market is right now what they call a household rate. It means like if this person lives in a house rather than a flat. Currently it is about 60%, and is decreasing as the young generations in Australia lives more into apartments and flats. And this situation will lead more people to charge at, whether you call it curbside charging, public charging, or combination charging, where they drive to their workspace and charge their car for the rest of the day. But without a doubt, Australia will also be a private charging market, which means that selling private chargers, providing services, energy management services for households in EV charging, solar panel integration, as well as battery energy storage. It is a huge market for us.
I agree, and I think you're absolutely right. For that energy management part of it, there's a big transition in Australia to be carbon neutral in a very short amount of time. And so I think that energy management is a huge focus. I myself have solar panels on my roof. I've looked at batteries because I can generate electricity from the sun during the day. And currently I sell that back to the grid. And I get paid 9 cents a kilowatt. And then I buy it back at night at 25 to 30 cents. So I am a low-cost producer of energy for the grid. Now, if I can then store that in my own battery, I can reduce my total energy cost. And I looked at that myself personally. The battery costs were quite expensive, mostly the Tesla Powerwall, which are sort of 15,000 to 20,000 Australian dollars. At that point, it didn't make sense financially, and I think that would be prohibitively expensive. So if there is an opportunity to provide this infrastructure to households, and there's a number of different ways you can do that, I think that there is opportunity there as well.
Definitely. Maybe when we finish the questions, Benson can give us shed more lights on the energy management systems as well as the batteries.
Yeah. It'd be very helpful, thank you.
Okay, I think that so far we are focusing on the charging business rather than solar energy creation plus storage plus EV charging. This is totally different kind of business model, right? So for EV charging, you have two kind of market sectors. One is private, another one is public charging, right? And we all know that private charging means you charge your cars at home, which is longer time needed. I mean, if you want to charge your car fully charged, that takes about, say, 4 hours to 5 hours. Doesn't really matter because while you are sleeping, you are charging your car. So it doesn't make any problem of, for anybody. But once, especially in Australia, you have to drive a long way. You probably drive from Brisbane to Sydney, which is quite long. So halfway you need to have a charging. So you need to do the public charging anyway, right? So there are two markets in Australia. In Hong Kong, it's very different. Hong Kong, private charging is more important than the public charging. So in Australia, there are two types of business, right? But that is not the most important thing. The most profitable business is not only for the EV charging. Okay, if you allow me to show you some websites. Actually, in Australia, there are two grids. One is Australian AEN, okay, it's Australian Network System. Another one is for western side of Australia. So there are two grids, and you have an open market for power trading. Is that correct, Jonathan? So
Yes.
the trading is the one that we can make use of the resources. I mean, make use of the pricing differences every day. I show you who is the master of this group. I show you the. Let me share with you the screen. Okay, hold on a second.
What was in this? Okay, here we go.
Okay. Now, here is today's pricing of the power. Okay, the difference, the low side is 31 cents, right? If you look at this. The purple line is the pricing, okay? The green line is the needs or the demands. So we only look at the pricing, which is the purple line, okay? So the low side is 90 cents. This is 35 cents, right? And the high side here is hold on. 299 cents. So this is a big difference. So at the night, we can receive the power from the grid, store it, and we resell in the daytime when the price is high. That is the major profit we can make, okay? The other things like the charging, the solar creation of the power, those are bonus. You know what I mean? So if I look at the financial model, and the financial model, you put all the capex including the solar powers, the solar panels and the solar systems cost. Okay, another one is the storage. Like what you say, that the power wall of Tesla is quite expensive. But if you put into this financial model, it doesn't make any problem for us because the gap is so big.
Sure.
Okay, but the problem is that you need to have somebody who knows how to trade, who has leg experience to trade. Because I had leg experience with European market. European market is even bigger gap than in Australia today. Last year was really huge difference. It's almost 7 Hong Kong dollars, which is about $1 US per kilowatt hour difference, in the daytime and the night. So in Australia, it's similar case. So if we have the storage, you don't bother what is the pricing of the FIT. FIT means the feed-in tariff. So you don't mind what is the tariff. The tariff is only a backup, it's only a bonus. You know what I mean? Okay, for EV charging, you talk about the EV charging, the public charging in the highway. Okay, if you can build up the EV charging in the highway, you can build a canopy with the solar on the rooftop of the car park.
Yes.
right? So the car park rooftop create the solar power, get into the grid, connect it to the grid. You get the FIT from the grid. At the same time, you do the storage of the power in the night. And in the daytime, you do the trading. So by looking at this aspect, you forget about the other things. So basically, yes. So
yes, I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you, and that ability that you've got to be able to generate and store and then decide when you use it or trade it if the pricing's right is very smart. Yes. I think that works. Altogether, the ecosystem that you create makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
this
actually,
is exactly.
So actually, my suggestion is that we don't have to micromanage our financial models of only the EV charging. You expand it over to EV charging plus storage and the trading of the power. So you look at the historical data of 1 year or 2 years, then you know every day you have a difference, a price difference. Okay, and the price difference give us very big profit margin that you can manipulate. Okay. In Europe, I made a financial model. I can share with you later because I don't have time to take it out because that was about 1 year ago that I did the financial analysis. I can share with you later on in the group. The financial model shows that the IRR can be as high as 55% in Europe. 55%, which means that less than 1 year you can get the money back.
Benson,
I agree.
Previously, Jonathan actually discussed and me discussed on this business model. And Jonathan, after his research, and he found exactly the same business model. We wanted to dig out more. So I also asked Xinyu about some information about the Sinopower, and I also log on your website. So I want to check if we set up such business like install the solar panel in the rooftop of private houses or office buildings, and then they generate the power to we store it in the battery, and also we sell it. The power will be used by the users, and the rest of the power will be sold to the government. Such kind of business, if we do it in Australia, does Sinopower has such? How can Sinopower be involved in such business in Australia?
Well, you are talking about very simple. Technically, it's feasible and it's very easy. For us, I have been doing the solar business for over 18 years. So technically, it's not a big problem. And I also have a lot of business partners in Australia, also in Europe and in Japan. I also have a lot of partners working with me. I can call them anytime and we can start the business right away. But the thing is that we need to find out what is our business model. If our business model is to find the houses on the rooftop of each houses, we help them to install the solar system. Is that the business we are looking for? I don't believe so. It is not good business because you are doing tedious retrofit jobs and you need to hire a lot of people to do the job. And it's not a good business model. Actually, what we do is that either you go to a big building, but in Australia, most of the buildings are not big as in China. There is no factory, okay? Very few factories in Australia. Well, you have mines, you have, other, it's different kind of business economy compared with China. So big buildings is not existing, okay? Then there are a lot of agricultural land or unused land that you can utilize it. Okay, and that you can connect into the grids. But the basic thing is that connecting to the grid, the money you get from the grid doesn't really deserve you to do the job because the IRR is not as good as in Hong Kong or in China. So it's not a good model. Okay, the good model is that you need to combine the solar energies creation, generation, and storage, and EV charging. And the business, the opportunities that you create your margin by trading the power, which is the major thing. Okay.
Do you think you even need the EV charging part?
Yes, you can.
Because you're making most of your profit through the generation and the storage and then the trading.
Yes, but the difference of the price of the electricity every day already give you enough opportunity or space to create the profits. So all the other thing is only the backup, just to guarantee you don't make a loss.
So that's just your bread and butter, let's say.
Yeah. So what I mean is that I would like to share with you the financial model that I created last year. I will send to you later on. In Europe, I investigated and I worked with a partner, but then because I didn't have that funding, so I gave up, and also because of the pandemic, so I gave up. But we can reuse the model and either create in Australia or in Europe, or even in Japan is the same thing. Okay, but Australia is a good model. We can start it, and at least we test it, and it works. Then you can easily copy it into other countries.
There's a lot of government support for this type of business as well.
Yes.
So we can get subsidy.
Yes.
Regulatory approval is much easier as well.
Yes, and I tell you that the energy storage, the battery, each day you can do two trading. You can do two trading. You know what I mean? At the night, the price of the power is very low, right? So in the daytime, price is very high. But and even at the night, you can retrieve the power from the grids. We sell one time, and in the daytime, you get another time and sell another time. So twice a day, you can do the trading. So the difference, you can times two. You can do times two. It's multiple.
I have some.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I have some connections who work in energy trading businesses, so I can always connect with those as well.
Yes. For the electricity trading, you need to have a certificate. Somebody need to hold a certificate to do the trading. Mm-hmm. So we need to find out that person or somebody or some company that we have to work together with them.
Yes. Yeah, I think I've got some of those contacts we can consider.
Yes, yes. All right. So that is my input. In Hong Kong, we also have two types of, the private charging and the public charging. AJ, you just mentioned that in Shanghai that you drive the EV car, and then at your home or in your apartment, you have difficulties of installing your home charging device. In Hong Kong, you have the same problem. So the business model we want to implement in Hong Kong is that we doing business promotion, that we are the operator. So we tell the people that you have difficulties of installing your device. I help you to upgrade your whole system of your estates. But I operate it. Then I charge you per month. So in Hong Kong, we say 1,080 Hong Kong dollars per month. We guarantee you to get 300 kilowatt hour, which allows you to travel in each month about 2,200 kilometers. Okay, basically they cannot use 100% of what they pay, and that extra margin that we created is very, very lucrative to us. And I think that our return can be, our gross margin can be as high as 45 to 50%. The GP margin is really high. But we need to put CapEx, of course. So in Australia, even in Sydney, there are also a lot of apartment buildings. Also, they have difficulties of installing the private charging. We can do the same thing. Okay?
Absolutely. And I think if you could package with that solar and batteries and a number of different elements to that as well.
Yes.
To generate electricity, to reduce the cost at which you're selling it and increase your margin.
Yes. And Jonathan, you mentioned that you do have your own rooftop in your house, solar.
That's right.
You do the self-consumption. So you save the money that you buy from the grid. So that is the only saving that you have. But the problem for you is that in the daytime that you create the solar power, but you use it, most of your usage is at the night. So you need to have the storage.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I think that is a big market for Australia because we have a lot of sunlight. I think solar is adopted, but battery usage is not yet widely adopted.
Yes.
So there is a very big opportunity there. And I discussed with Bo different models. It might be that we have a company that actually puts up the capex and owns the battery and then basically can sell the electricity generated back to the consumer and make a margin on it. And at that point, you have a captive audience because you're on their building. They will always buy electricity from you because you're always cheaper than the grid. And so it creates perpetual revenue flow for you.
Yes, you are right. But the problem for us to do this business from zero, you need to build up your team because you are talking about 1,000 households, 10,000 households, or even 20,000 households. And how many people you need to recruit to deal with all those households? You know, each one give you one call once a month. Then how many calls you are going to get? It's a difficult model.
Understood.
It's a difficult model.
Understood.
Right? It's a difficult model.
We can say to Apple join the venture. We get to do it together.
Yeah.
I beg your pardon.
Benson, we have 60 kindergartens all over Australia.
That is possible. That is possible. Kindergarten is a big one. I mean, there's a building. Okay, that is a big one. But please show me some of the pictures of the rooftop if you can. Share with me or give me the address. I look at the Google Earth and try to find out, and we can make feasibility studies to see how many or how much solar power we can generate it on the rooftop. But that is not important.
Yeah.
Even without the building, we can install the solar panels on the land. On the land, there are plenty of lands in Australia.
Exactly, yes.
So it's not a big issue there. The issue is the business model. If you only focus on the houses, that should not be our model. Otherwise, you have to hire a lot of people.
Benson, if we instead of install a panel in every house, we set up a big concentrate the solar panel into one site, like big building or big land. But how can we use the stored power to support the EV charging?
Well, that you have to install a storage big enough. I mean, the capacity of the storage should be big enough. And as last, we have the JV with the energy storage company, and we can have that kind of capacity. And the product is mature, so you just install as many as possible. As long as the grid can allow us to connect it, then we can install it. It's not a big issue. Technology is quite mature.
Does that matter if the land we use to install the solar panel is far away from the city? Does that matter? Because we own a big land, but it's very 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 far away from the city. Yeah.
Okay, but you have to see where is the grid. Normally the grid you have the tower and the cables. So you have to see the map of the grids to see how far away from your land. I mean, the land, you own the land, so where is your land? Normally, if your land is close to a mine, then you are close to a grid. So you have to look at the grid's map. It's not difficult
we
to
can
find
do that
out.
analysis, but
It's difficult
Yeah,
to find.
exactly.
It's not difficult to find. Yes. Okay. Actually, the grid can be far away, but if you have the substation near your land, then you still can connect.
yeah, absolutely.
Interesting. I think that's the right business model we wanted to
Yep.
detail
Yes.
discuss.
I can share. I can share with
Yeah.
you the analysis that I did with my partners in Europe after the meeting. Then I also share with you the financial model, which we can adjust it. I mean, we can fine tune it to fit into Australian's markets. Then you can see that the return, which is really high.
Great. Yeah, please do. That would be very helpful. Thank you.
Okay. I finished my part.
Great.
That's the next question.
One more question. One more question is for Sinopower. Is your current business only doing in Hong Kong, or you have also? Sinopower itself also do business overseas, or only focus in Hong Kong?
Well, I doing the solar business for over 18 years, and I have been doing solar projects in Europe, USA, Japan, Southeast Asia, and also in South Africa. So I have a lot of experience in different kind of countries. Technically, it's not the issue. It's only a financial game. You can easily find people to install your system for you, as long as you have money. So when you have money, what you only need to calculate is the IRR, the internal rate of return. So we don't have to hire our own people to build or install the solar panels. Actually, there are a lot of subcontractors and installers on the market. In Australia, I know thousands. So it's not a big issue to find somebody to build it for you. But you need to find out your business model first. Okay?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Yes.
That's three comments related to the charging stations. I make the business case with AJ several days ago. So we just focus on the public chargings. But according to experience in China, that we can separate into different scenarios. That's like the private home charging will be one scenario. Definitely, there will be business. And for the public, for the expressway with very high power charging will be another business. So I think we can combine the different kind of scenario. We can discuss furthermore with the different kind of business for the charging. Just like in China, that for the taxi and the ride-hailing, currently they take out about 70% of charging volume. And definitely for the Australia or other market, it's nearly the same. The demand of the electricity, just the first stage will go from the taxi and the ride-hailing or the commercial vehicles, just like the bus or truck. So we need to consider not only for the private vehicles. That's my suggestion. The second one related to the locations of the charging station. The best location is quite limited because we need to consider for the parking slots, for the grid distance of the grid, because it will definitely impact the business model. I worked in the Star Charge more than 5 years, and I constructed a lot of the charging stations in China, but in different charging stations with a different model because the distance to the transformer or to the grid is different, so the investment will be different. So we have a system we call the net that we can do the analysis in which site will be the better location for the charging stations. But definitely, currently we only consider for the 10 chargers for one stations. But definitely, the size of the charging station is diversity. 2 charging piles or even 50 charging piles might be necessary because the customers just go there, they want their cars can be charged. Normally, 2 chargers will be limited. When the customers go there, but it's occupied, the customer has to drive to another charging stations. So for each site, I think we can sit together, do analysis, what's the size, we can design for you. And even for the charging service fee, it can be dynamic. Because in the urban side or the rural side, definitely it will be different. Yeah. So the third point related to asset value. So currently our business model only focus on the trading and the service fee. But then stations will be limited asset in the future. When there's enough EV available in the market, definitely for the asset value will be increased more than GDP, I think. So we need to also consider not only for the trading. So I think the business model is very complex. Currently, we just do it according to our experience. So business is just for the service fee. So a lot of the added value inside we not considered yet. So there's just 3 comments related to the charging stations. So home charging, this is there. For the public charging, yes. And even like our product, like robots, we can do the emergency supply for the electricity. Sometimes it's run out of the battery. What can we do for the customers? Especially like in Australia, it's quite long distance. It's not in the other side. So this will be business. So we can sit together, discuss first of all possibilities, even for opportunities for them. So I will meet Mr. Bourne this Friday. So I will show you more data that maybe I'm not very prepared today. So I will show you the data on Friday. So related to what do they have? What happens in China? The Chinese market will be how to say a pilot of the POC. Definitely for the Australian market, the Europe market, the growth might be also like this. When there's enough vehicles, the conflict between the supply side and the demand side will appear. At that time, asset will increase, the value will increase.
Okay.
So just a comment here.
I think if I can just add something, in terms of we're talking about charging stations. If you guys can see my screen, I'm sorry, Jonathan and Chris. This is in Chinese, but this graph pretty much shows the value of assets increase along the years of gas.
Just put it to me, or you make it a personal model.
By the number of cars increase, the value of gas station also increases along the time. This is for gas station. You have it from 2000 to 22, and then we have this is charging stations. We're experiencing